I was always frightened of classical music, and I never wanted to listen to it because it was Beethoven and Tchaikovsky and sort of big words like that, and Schoenberg. You know, I always thought... I mean, something like a taxi driver the other day had some sheet music of a Mozart thing. And I said, what's that, you know? And he said, oh, that's the high-class stuff. You won't like that. He said, no, you won't like that. And I said, well, what is it, you know? He said, oh, no, you won't like it. You know, it's high-class, that. It's very high-class, highbrow. And that kind of way, I always used to think of it. I used to think, well, you know, that's very clever, all that stuff. And it isn't, you know.
The thing about writing orchestral music for me is I'm lucky because I don't really know much classical music at all. When I was a kid, my dad always used to turn it off when it came on the radio. He said, turn that stuff off. You know, he was a jazzer. He didn't like it. So I never really heard much. I used to listen to Bach when we were in the Beatles. That was probably our favorite composer then. More recently, I listened to Monteverdi a bit. I didn't actually listen to anyone when I was making this piece, except to see what I shouldn't do, because they'd done it already. I listened to Beethoven, just to see what he did. And I'd say my favorites at the moment are, I like Monteverdi, because I think there's a lot in common with early Beatle music. They didn't know many chords. I'm quite lucky. It's like a big black hole in there with me. When I sit down, there's like nothing. So in a way, I think that's quite good, because I think hopefully then anything I write is possibly more original. You know, there's plenty of examples. There's, I think there's a Bernstein thing in West Side Story. There's a place for us. I hear that's somebody else's melody. I don't know whose. But so in other words, you know, even great people like Bernstein would nick stuff, sometimes unconsciously. So I think sometimes it's a bit of an advantage to not know that much. Ignorance is bliss, in my case. It's just a question of loving music. I'm very lucky, you know, to be paid for what I love doing. And I've written a lot of stuff in my life. It generally tends to be shortish in form. You know, Hey Jude would be the longest at about 7 minutes as a song. So it's a good challenge to do something different. You know, you might say to a short story writer, why do you bother to write a novel? Because it's there. It's a challenge, and if you love music, it's very interesting.